Observer's Calendar for February 2026 on episode 520 of the Actual Astronomy Podcast. I'm Chris, and joining me is Shane. We are amateur astronomers who love looking up at the night sky, and this podcast is for everybody who enjoys going out under the stars. So we have not been out under the stars, Shane, or at least I know I haven't.
Yeah, well, I sort of was under the stars, but in my car driving with a lot of warmth.
Mm.
But my wife and I went out for supper last night, and on the way home, it was beautifully
Oh,
clear.
yeah.
Sky conditions looked actually quite good, like very stable, very transparent. Jupiter was just like a beacon of light without any twinkle at all,
Yeah.
except it was, about minus. Well, I think it was around minus 30-ish,
Yeah.
without any wind. And there wasn't much wind last night, but it was just too darn cold for any real kind of astronomy, at least for me.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, I mean, the gear just doesn't. For years I tried observing quite a bit at those negative 30 odd temperatures, but the mounts just freeze up and it's pretty hard on the gear and yourself and everything. And I hurt my hand pretty bad one night and anyway, so I just kind of waited out until the slightly warmer nights. I don't mind going down to minus 20. It's funny though, I almost never observe at minus 20 since I came up with that rule a few years back. Typically it's not. Typically it's about minus 12 or warmer, or it's like minus 30 and colder when it's clear, it seems. Like
Hmm.
I have almost done no observing sort of in that intermediary range. It's very rare to have good sky conditions, I guess, when it's like between basically minus 13 and about minus 29 or so. Like we just don't get it. And I've kind of watched it, and if it is clear at those temperatures, often it's ferociously windy.
Hmm. Hmm.
So you just can't be out. You wouldn't observe anyway, even if it was 15 degrees, you wouldn't go out if it was blowing like 50 kilometers an hour anyway. So it's yeah, it's one of those
Yeah.
things. But I heard a strange warning yesterday. I wish I had recorded it. On the radio, they were saying not to watch your pets when you let them out. Don't let them out for too long because it was so cold that your pets could get knocked into a coma.
Hmm.
And, and I was like, I hadn't heard that warning before.
Yeah, no
For cold
kidding.
warnings, but no coma warnings. So, but yeah, if you had like a cat or something, they said that it was so cold that the cold could hit it so hard it could knock it into a coma. So
Mm.
yeah, I feel like it's been colder here, but these are some cold snaps that we're having.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll just wait it out and look forward to some warmer days and some spring observing, which isn't too far away.
I was saying I have a calendar for you, Shane, but I met up with our listener Francis, who was winner of the calendar draw, and I had a coffee. He wouldn't let me buy him a coffee though. He's not a midday coffee drinker like I am, but we sat, had a nice chat for close to 30 minutes uh, the other day, and yeah, I had sort of talked to him a few times before in the past, it seems. Um, and then he had become a listener of the podcast, but was talking about owning a 10-inch reflector and having I think a 4-inch refractor, and yeah, getting out and doing some observing and that. But I kind of felt bad. It was the day that we were packing some stuff up at work, and then I was like a little bit distracted because I was like trying to run around and get all this final stuff done in the office, and then just all right, I'm gonna run out and meet with the listener now, and then yeah, but it was nice. I always enjoy meeting up with the listeners and hearing about their observing. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty neat that that we picked somebody local too from Regina. I'm not sure that'll ever happen again, but kind of made the calendar distribution a little easier.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's kind of funny the way that it's worked. Like the first time we did a calendar giveaway, whenever it was 4 years ago or something like that, and the address was so obscure, and it was to a country that was very far away, and it was literally like go down this road and take a left at the White House or Purple House or something like that. And I was just like, oh, this is never going to get there. And I kind of wrote the person and said, I don't know about this. And I had to use like a shipping company to that would even say they would try to figure it out. And I don't think that calendar ever made it to that person.
Yeah.
I think last year we drew the person from the previous year. So we did another draw and gave another calendar out.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
that was
This
pretty funny.
this is becoming a bit of an adventure each year too, then.
Yeah, yeah. And it was coincidental, but I believe, and somebody wrote recently saying they wanted to send us beer, and then they made a joke about it, and I said, actually, somebody did send us beer, and it was the guy who sent us beer that won the calendar, which was,
Oh, yeah.
sort of for all transparency, completely unrelated. So it was kind of weird that that guy won it twice in a row.
Yeah, yeah. That's right.
Anyway, but it is what it is. So that was fun. We'll get into the observer's calendar now, though. It's just been so cold. I've been stuck at home for 4 days, and it's just nice to be here talking with you, Shane, and communicating with the listeners. So on February 1st, we're going to have the full moon sitting right between Cancer and Leo.
Hmm. Kind of a nice bookends on the moon.
It is. I thought that looked kind of pretty. Pretty often, I don't even put in where the full moon is. It's sort of usually in some sort of less picturesque spot, but
Hmm.
that looks quite pretty. It's going to be between. It's going to be closer to Regulus than Jupiter, but with Jupiter there and the Leo is some pretty bright stars, and then it's just going to be left of a lot of those bright stars in Canis Minor and Gemini. I mean, it's going to look pretty neat in the night sky. I think be a nice full
Yeah,
moon. That
yeah,
one.
yeah. That will be neat.
On the first also we have this beautiful colorful double star, 26 Aurigay. And I put finders for all this stuff in now too. I'm trying to do that. It's a little bit of work, but I think it looks pretty good in the notes, eh?
Yeah, yeah. It comes through quite nice.
Mm.
And maybe just on that topic too, I usually preempt these shows when we will have show notes. I like to mention it, and always the Observer's Calendar. We do publish show notes on actualastronomy.com, so you don't have to worry about trying to capture all of these details while we talk. You can just go to the website and it's all there.
And the reason why we do that is people were trying to take notes while driving. And I'm not kidding. I had like three people write a long time ago, and I was like, okay, I will just start doing this because that's not safe. Do not take the notes while you're. And then people can just sort of enjoy it. If there's something they're like, oh, maybe I'd like to go take a look at that. And a few people have taken on going to look at some of these beautiful double stars and then some of the other objects. Pretty nice. Yeah, I wouldn't mind taking. And we just don't have the skies, and I keep like looking at these targets like 26 Auriga. It looks like a beautiful, nice, wide, colorful double, and I'm like, ooh, that would be nice to take a look at.
Hmm.
Here we go, though, Shane. One thing I'm gonna try to get out and take a peek at is February 2nd. Here we have in North America, for all of North America, we have Regulus being occulted by the moon. Basically, the moon is going to pass in front of Regulus for most of North America at about 8:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, that is 7:50 for those of us right in the center of North America, and for others further to the west, you're going to be looking at the moon rising already covering Regulus, because here you can see it's pretty close, but that's just showing it rising up, and it rises for about an hour or so into a darkish sky before covering up Regulus. So we should see it cover, and then of course see it uncover so long as it's clear and not too cold. Um, yeah, but that should be a really neat event, hey?
Yeah, yeah. It looks like it's quite low on the horizon, though. Is that
Well, that's
accurately
just rising. I just put
just
it
rising? Okay.
where I was curious. So that was about an hour before the occultation.
Okay.
And then, yeah, maybe I should have used a better shot. I was just sort of playing around and just finally grabbed a screenshot and moved on. But it'll be about 15 or 20 degrees high in our sky. So not super high, but high enough that you should be able to find a good enough horizon to view it when you're looking towards the east.
Hmm.
But the great thing about an occultation of Regulus by the moon is that when the moon is there and the star is right beside it, even if it's not quite an occultation, but this one is, um, well, there's two things you can look out for. The first thing is that you'll see the colors of the star become incredibly vibrant when next to the moon. So you'll see, like, I think Regulus is more like a bluish color, and it's going to seem really blue next to the moon. Like whatever colors are with that star, you're going to really see them accentuated because you have that reference point of the sort of stark whitish gray of the moon. And then the other thing is, as the occultation begins to occur and ingress begins to occur, and then as well at egress, which will be about an hour or so later, you may be able to see some of the mountains and features of the moon as the light kind of cuts through the other side of the moon and through some crater peaks and valleys and that sort of thing. And these were something that I didn't really get into looking at too committedly anyway when I was starting in astronomy. And then when I finally started watching these some years ago, I just couldn't believe how amazing these sort of events are. And it's a full moon, so you can't really do deep sky observing so much on these nights anyway. February 3rd, zodiacal light becomes visible in the evening sky, western evening sky, and that's when the moon isn't in the sky. So as we get into sort of the end of that first week and second and third week of February, you'll be able to look towards the west, and if you have a reasonably dark western horizon, you'll see a pillar of light extending up sort of towards the Pleiades, and it varies depending on your latitude. And what you're seeing there is it's dust from Mars that's been blown off by the solar wind, and it's interplanetary, meaning it's between the planets in our solar system. And you can see that. We've seen it quite a few times together, Shane.
Yeah, we have. It's kind of a neat thing. And if you don't know what you're looking for, it can kind of almost appear as light pollution.
Yeah.
Yep.
More of a pillar pyramid type shape. But yeah, and I mean, I think I tried to see it quite a few times, and then once I saw it and realized what it was, then it was much, much easier to see. February 6th, you can take a look for the carbon star W Orionis, which should be at its best this evening. I think I've seen this. I think I tried to see it last year and saw it, but I don't think it's that faint. Might be able to see that in binoculars even if it's cold out.
Yeah, interesting.
Another colorful double you can try hunting down early in February is, and it comes in the catalog as H3945, which is in Canis Major.
Uh-huh.
But the actual one in the Sky Safari comes up as HD 56578, and it's in and amongst a bunch of open clusters. So, which we will talk about some of those open clusters later. It's a nice, rich area of sky, but I think I've seen this. I think I've actually gone and looked at this double star before. I think it is quite nice. On February 9th, we have the last quarter moon, and it's sitting down in Scorpius. Actually, and I think around that time or the following night somewhere, there is an occultation of Antares, or it's pretty close to Antares on the following night, but we don't ever see that happen. But on this night, it's pretty close to it. But you know what I'm seeing? Just while I'm looking at this, Shane, I might need you to ad lib for a sec so I can go and take a look. But it looks like it's covering one of the stars. The moon looks like we get an occultation of a star there. Do you see that in the notes for February 9th, last quarter moon?
Yeah. Well, it's certainly a rich area of the sky. Just below Antares Bow. I wouldn't be shocked if there's at least one or two stars that are occulted at that time. And it's kind of neat too, because it's about a 50% moon. So sometimes those occultations are kind of neat when the unlit part of the moon begins the occultation. It's kind of neat to sort of see the star just vanish, because in a way you don't really see that part of the moon very well.
Yeah, I don't think it does though. I'm just
No.
looking it up. And sometimes when you're zoomed out that far, I mean, it gets close to, I think it's like Phi Scorpii, which is the bottom star. Can I get it here in my, oh, it's just trying to give me the sharpless details, but let me see if I can. I just want to see if this, I don't think it does. I think we just end up with a very close pass. Yeah, it doesn't actually occult any stars there, but it gets pretty close to the star Pi Scorpii. Yeah. 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 But yeah, no dice. It's within like a degree though. It's actually
Yeah.
within half a degree of Pi Scorpii for us.
Okay, that's pretty close.
It is. It is, yeah. So, I mean, that would be nice in binoculars. Anyway, it's kind of neat when you run across stuff like that just as you're making up the podcast notes and kind of neat. All right. Also around this time, around that second week of February, we got the Gigantine, which is high in the south at midnight for about 2 weeks. And what this is the anti-solar point, and it's getting projected up into dust above the Earth in the solar system, and and you're just getting this reflection point essentially, but it's pretty dim. I think I may have seen it once or twice, but I think you need to be in a pretty dark location with some nice conditions.
Hmm. Definitely a dark sky needed.
Yeah. Also, around this time of year, this is a great time to see an open cluster NGC 1502, and you would be familiar with that open cluster though, Shane, because it's at the end of a very famous and locally beloved chain of stars. Hey,
Kemble's Cascade.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's awesome. Kemble's Cascade is really quite beautiful. I like looking at that almost every time I'm observing. Yeah, definitely a good one to put on the list.
Yeah, because we get it here. It's above the horizon, like sort of 3 out of 4 seasons. It kind of
Hmm.
seems,
Yeah, it's
I
almost
don't.
always there.
Yeah, I don't think it fully sets, so you can always see it at some point in the night. Like I was saying, on the 10th, Antares has a close pass of the moon, but not for North America. I think you'd have to be um, much further east or much further west than us.
Hmm.
Also on the 10th, we have that lunar Curtis Cross visible, which is one of those, what do you call them, clear obscure features, eh?
Hmm. Yeah, those are always fun to have a look at on the moon. A little bit of a shadow play with the peaks and craters and can create interesting things to look at, like this X. So, if it's warm, I'll give it a try.
Yeah. I don't think you can see those in binoculars, though. I think we tried once and were unsuccessful.
Yeah, I think you do need a little more oomph. So yeah, telescope would be recommended.
The uh, the NGC 2403 Galaxy is well placed at this time of year in the north, I guess northeastern sky as well. And this galaxy is not too far. I think it's just over the border from Ursa Major to Camelopardalis as well. But uh, this is a well-known galaxy for comet hunters because when it's lower down, it really looks like a comet. It's quite bright and fuzzy, and just like I think it has more structure at one end than the other, which kind of resembles like a comet's nucleus a little bit. And I certainly thought I had a comet once when I used to do some comet hunting way back when, and I was certain I found a comet one night when I ran across that, but it turned out it was just this galaxy, sadly.
Hmm. Hmm. I bet your heart rate increased though.
Well, yeah, like we were surprised because it's not really that frequently observed. It's a strange galaxy because it is quite bright. And it's not that far. It's sort of like a little bit further than a dipper bowl. It's about a dipper bowl and a half away from 81 and 82. And you would think that if you were hunting around for 81 and 82, you would be running over this all the time, but it's like just far away enough from M81 and M82 that you typically wouldn't get that far away when you're panning around looking for M81 and M82. And I think that's what leads us to believe that, oh, well, this has to be something other than a galaxy or whatever because it's so bright, and we're often up in that region of the sky. But for whatever reason, just the spot that it's in is just far enough away from anything else that we don't often cast our gaze around that zone. But that's a really bright galaxy, NGC 2403. Well worth taking a look at. Have you seen it?
I don't think so, Chris. Yeah, I don't believe I have. I'd have to check my notes, of course, because I'm not really good at remembering what I have seen and haven't seen. But that one, I don't recall. Although, I've looked at so many things in that part of the sky. Maybe.
Yeah, it's eighth magnitude. Like it's
Oh,
not
that's pretty
that.
bright. Yeah.
It is. It is. So, I mean, you would probably even stand a pretty good chance of being able to see that from your backyard with the 102 TSA. I can't imagine you wouldn't be able to get that one. It's
Mm-hmm.
bright.
Mm-hmm.
Also pretty bright is the Planetary Nebula NGC 2392, which goes by a whole variety of names, the Lion's Head, Lion's Mane, Clown Face. It just goes on and on and on. But it's a highly structured planetary nebula with a lot of ring structure to it, and that's up in Gemini, not too far away from Jupiter. And in fact, I think that Jupiter being only about 5 or 6 degrees away on these midwinter nights is going to cause some glare issues because Jupiter is just so fantastically bright, like you were saying at the start, Shane.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sadly,
Yep.
but could still be worth looking at. I think that, sometimes you can get some weird reflections when Jupiter is that close to an object.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you're in the zone anyway, if you're in the area,
Yeah, give it a go. See what happens.
NGC 2237 is also well placed. This is part of the Rosette Nebula. Most frequently, it's noted as NGC 2244, which I think is the cluster. I think 37 is the nebula. And there's like a lot of nebula and open clusters in that general area in Monoceros, which is essentially between Orion, in particular Betelgeuse, and I suppose it's like parts of Cancer and stuff like that that this kind of sits between. But I always find the Rosette is quite a beautiful object to go and take a look at on these winter nights. I've certainly been looking at it quite a bit this past fall, staying up late and having some nice views because it rises fairly early on those November evenings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Another one of those kind of highlight objects that everybody should spend some time looking at.
Yeah, and low power works really, really well. Over the past few years, I've spent a lot of time on it with the 5-inch refractor, the 100 millimeter, my 7 inch. Um, and you can start to see some structure for sure. But yeah, the 7 inch is almost like getting even just at f6, it's almost like getting too big. It's interesting because having used an 8-inch f6 reflector when I was starting out and really struggled to see the Rosette Nebula and cluster region, and then dropping down to smaller instruments. The smaller instruments, in many respects, are where this object shines because you're able to see like a larger expanse of sky to get that contrast between the object and the sky. And then as well, you're not over magnifying it. But the 7 inch, it's still pretty darn good. You can still see quite a bit of detail. I think the 5 inch might just be a little bit better on it though.
Yeah, sometimes you can have just a little too much light for these dispersed dim objects. And like you say, sometimes smaller is better.
Yeah, it's something I know everybody knows we go on about small instruments, but it is one of the things, there's lots to look at in the night sky and you know, it's nice to have big instruments, don't get me wrong, and love looking through the 12-inch that Mike has and other instruments that we know of that are around. But holy smokes, it's really nice just to take that small piece of equipment or binoculars and take a look at some of these really big targets from time to time. It's quite enjoyable.
Hmm.
All right, so on the 15th, Saturn and Neptune are very close together, less than a degree apart in the nighttime sky. That's a nice close proximity of Neptune and Saturn. Hey, should be a pretty good pairing there in binoculars or even in a telescope. I mean,
Yeah, most telescopes, excuse me, will fit that into one field of view. So that,
easy.
yeah, that's quite nice.
Yeah,
People really need to mark that one on their calendars.
I think so. And it's going to be several nights. I think it's,
Uh-huh.
at least a few nights before and a few nights after where it's within
Yeah.
about a degree or 1.1 degrees. I was just trying to figure out in my head. My telescope at its lowest power is slightly larger than 2.5 degrees at about 30x. So I think, well, I have my 12 millimeter gives me about 90 magnification or something like that. And it has a 92-degree field of view. So my 12 millimeter should be able to give me both these targets in the same field at a 92-degree field of view. Gives me 1 degree, 92-degree apparent field gives at 92x will give a 1 degree true field, right? Something like that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Should be pretty close to being able to fit that in. If not, I'll just use the 17.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. NGC 2362 is well placed in mid-November, mid-February as well. No, I was thinking November because I stay up and look at all this stuff in November before it gets really cold. And I was looking at NGC 2362 in November. And Shane, recently we had an email from a listener, and I thought, wow, they went and sketched this and we're going to put it in for the objects to observe in February. And do you want to give this short email a quick read?
Yeah, yeah. So this is from Tony, and he said, "Thank you for hosting another great show, number 517, Navigating the Night Sky. I'm always so impressed with your presentation of ideas and concepts. Your approach is straightforward and thoughtful and very engaging. I only wished I'd known about your podcast when I was first starting out. Keep up the great work." I've tried out various tools for navigating the night sky, and while I primarily rely on apps such as Sky Safari, I still love a good paper chart. I agree that Sky and Telescope's Pocket Sky Atlas is one of the best, but I also like the free downloadable PDF version of Deep Sky Hunter Star Atlas by Michael Vlasov. There's a website URL. It's deepskywatch.com/deepskyatlas dash, or sorry, let me cancel that. Let me restart that.
No worries.
It's www.deepskywatch.com/deepsky-atlas.html.
It's a
Again,
mouthful.
yeah, these show notes will be available, so don't worry if you missed it. Tony goes on to say, as you can see from the attached photos, my paper copy gets a lot of use. I printed this out on large format office paper, and one of the simple joys in life is leafing through the pages and marking up in pencils the objects I'd like to observe. While Deep Sky Hunter is limited to magnitude 10 stars, this is more than enough information for me to easily navigate the night sky on most nights. Also attached is a sketch of NGC 2362 in Canis Major, one of my favorite winter open clusters. I believe you talked about this in the Observer's Calendar for January 2026 show. Even though I live in the southeastern US, my window of opportunity for observing NGC 2362 is short. The first time I observed this small open cluster, I was amazed by the sparse arrangement of fainter stars around a bright jewel-like central star. I thought I saw a faint hint of nebulosity, but after reading up the cluster, this isn't so. Although there's a large H2 region nearby, so maybe it was wishful thinking on my part. I sketched NGC 2362 with various graphite pencils on white drawing paper, photographed with an iPhone, and then inverted the image in Adobe Photoshop. This sketch was made at the eyepiece using a 6-inch f8 Dobsonian and a 10 millimeter Vixen NPL Plossl. Yeah, very nice sketch.
Thanks, Tony.
Yeah.
Very nice. And I was looking at the most recent edition of Sky and Telescope. My I think it's my April copy or something that I got now. And there's a new edition of the Sky and Telescope Pocket Atlas, and then that larger jumbo Pocket Atlas, which always seems so strange to me.
Oh, what do you know what the changes were?
I don't. I just there's like an ad for it in there,
Hmm.
and yeah, so that's kind of interesting. I do quite like the Pocket Atlas. Maybe I'll pick up the Jumbo Atlas this time, although the shipping fees from Sky and Telescope has become rather exorbitant.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, I do like the jumbo edition. That's the one I default to now. It's just a little easier to read at night, as your eyes get fatigued. And, now that I'm getting a little older too, the larger charts are certainly appreciated.
yeah. Tuesday, February 17th, we have new moon slash young moon crescent. Young crescent moon visible in the west after sunset, and an annular eclipse for Antarctica. So, unless you really
Hmm.
want to
Are you
make that kind of commitment
are you going, Chris?
to there for an annular eclipse, no.
No? Okay.
No, but you know what? You know what else has special about February 17th, Shane?
Oh, is this Pancake Day or something?
Every year I put it in. It's Pancake Tuesday.
Yeah,
Just a big
see,
deal around our house.
it's taken me, what, 5 or 6 years to at least kind of recognize that this is a thing now.
Yeah. Yeah, Shrove Tuesday, otherwise known as Pancake Tuesday or Fat Tuesday, I think is what they have in Louisiana. So yeah, celebrating that. Not that we don't eat pancakes almost every week around this place, but yeah. One of my specialties. You haven't lived until you've had one of my pancakes, and I'm not even kidding. They're quite good.
Well, you have me
Mixture.
intrigued. I didn't know a pancake can be elevated, but now
Oh,
now I need to experience this, Chris.
let me tell you, it fresh blueberries and mini chocolate chips. Oh,
Okay,
mm,
okay.
yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, no joke. And I'm a bit of a well, I grew up in maple syrup country, the area of Nova Scotia I grew up in is known for its maple sugar production, maple syrup production. I mean, I don't want to say half the kids I went to school with, but a lot of the kids I went to school with would have, families that were involved in the maple sugar operations, two of them like big time.
Hmm.
And yeah, so anyway, I digress, but spring is maple sugar running season. So looking forward to spring maybe on these cold winter nights. All right. February 18th, we have Venus about 1.7 degrees away from the moon and Mercury, and there's a lot of close pairings. And in fact, I think that the moon occults Mercury there for the southern US. It gets really close here, but I don't think we get the occultation. I did play around with this a little bit, and I did put some finer charts in for the 18th. And then on the 19th, Mercury is at its greatest elongation, which is basically the furthest it gets from the sun in the evening sky. So you're going to look towards the west, and you'll see it. It's actually quite a bit higher than Venus even. So good opportunity to see Mercury and the moon paired together in the sky.
Hmm.
On the 23rd of February, we have the Hipparchus Ray visible. I did put a link. It's right in the middle. Must not be too far from the Lunar X.
Yeah, yeah. It would be sort of in that region.
And then on sort of later in that week, we have the star 20 Geminorum, which is a colorful double star, which is going to be nice and visible in the bottom of Gemini.
Hmm.
Additionally, the carbon star capital U, Aurigae, is going to be at its best also on the 23rd. So people can try to hunt that down. I put the finer charts in the notes, just trying to adjust these to get some good sizing on them. But this star is about halfway between Auriga and Castor and Pollux.
Okay.
On the 24th, we have the first quarter moon and the Pleiades, pretty close together in the night sky.
Yeah, another good pairing, kind of like we mentioned at the start of the month on February 1st with that full moon book ended. Anytime you get the moon with, some of these other, objects or, clusters, it's quite neat.
Yep. Also on the 20, I think we're on the 24th still here. We have the Magnus Ray and Mons Pico and Beta visible on the moon as well. And I marked Mons Pico there. I think they're all generally in the same region of the sky of the lunar landscape.
Mm-hmm.
On the 25th, lunar straight wall is visible. That's that giant escarpment I did mark. We've talked about that quite a bit in the past, hey?
We have, yeah, yeah. It's visible quite frequently, and neat object to take a look at.
And also about this time of month, we have the star 38 Geminorum, another double star, another object up there in Gemini to see. Lots to see in Gemini this month.
Yeah, there is.
On February 26th, Mercury is going to be 5 degrees away from Venus, and then Saturn and Neptune are going to be about 7 or 8 degrees away. That's going to look pretty neat. This sort of I don't know, like right angle triangle of some sort in the evening sky. Shane looks pretty cool in the screen grab that I did.
Yeah, it does look cool. Yeah, I like it when the planets start to bunch up a little bit
Yeah,
and you get a number of them in a chunk of the sky that are, it's kind of close like this. I like getting out and just even doing like naked eye just to kind of see the bright points of light.
yeah. Well, on that night, because we know that Jupiter is high up. We talked a little bit about that earlier, and then you've got Mercury, Venus, Saturn, Neptune, and Earth. Of course, you can see, six out of the planets right there all at once.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty neat.
On the 27th, Jupiter and the Moon are going to pair up, but not here. They remain pretty far away. And also on the 27th, we have the asteroid 7 Iris at opposition, and it's a large main belt asteroid, fourth brightest object of the asteroid belt, and it's going to be magnitude 8.7 on that night. Discovered in 1847 and is classified as a stony type asteroid and possible remnant planetesimal.
Hmm.
Also, we have last beautiful double star. Again, I think I've seen this one, 8 Monoceros. Monoceros.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I've looked
Possibly,
at this one too. It's quite nice.
yeah, Monoceratosis, maybe. I forget what the
That sounds
Latinized
that sounds like
pluralized.
a condition you
I
have to
know.
talk to your doctor about.
Yeah, I'll be okay. All right. And then guess what? We have a comet.
Hmm.
I put a big finder chart in. I got to shrink this down because it's not showing up in the right spot. But had you heard about this one? I had not heard about this one.
No, I'm out of the comet loop apparently.
Mm,
Hmm.
out of the orbit. Comet
Yes.
E1, and it's Wierzchowski. A Polish astronomer Kasper Wierzchowski or Wikos
Yeah.
at the University of Arizona discovered a new comet on March 3rd, 2024, named after him. The comet has been slowly making its way through the inner solar system. On January 20th of 2026, the comet Wierzchowski or C 2024 E1 reached perihelion and its closest approach to the sun. And on February 17th, it will be closest to Earth at 94 million miles, which is basically just over 1 astronomical unit away. So that's pretty close by cometary standards. And while favored for the southern hemisphere, it kind of rises up briefly into our south-southwestern sky, Shane,
Hmm.
and peaking out at magnitude 6.5 there, I think towards the end of the month, just after the 17th, and might be visible in binoculars or a like a Dobsonian telescope pointed towards the horizon. Not too high up off the horizon though. I think 6 degrees up is what it's at when it's fully dark. But a sixth magnitude comet 6 degrees up in the sky might stand a chance of getting with a telescope. It's unfortunate if it was higher up or if you're further south. Certainly,
Mhm.
if you're down in the southern U.S., that comet might be 26 degrees or 36 degrees up if you're, in the very southern tip of Florida or Hawaii or somewhere, and you'd be able to perhaps see that naked eye. So I'd be curious to know if anybody gets that one. And certainly if you're down in the southern hemisphere, that's going to be cruising straight up overhead.
Yeah, neat opportunity, and it looks like it covers a lot of ground or a lot of sky in February. So the other thing to look at would just be how much it is moving across the sky night after night after night, because again, it's traveling quite a distance.
Yep. Anything else to add to the show?
Nope, nothing else, Chris.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Please subscribe, share the show with other stargazers you know, and send us your show ideas, observations, and questions to actualastronomy@gmail.com.
Thank you, everyone, for listening, and we hope you enjoyed the show. If you are interested in more information, would like to contact us, or if you would like to support the podcast, check out our website, actualastronomy.com.